Welcome to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast. Hi, I'm David Manti, and welcome to a new episode of the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast. With me this week is Caroline Riggs, Executive Vice President of Retail and Marketing at Copper State Farms. Thank you very much for joining me today, Caroline.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get started, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You could also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. If you want to email the podcast, you could reach me at david@cannabisequipmentnews.com with email the podcast in the subject line. You could also subscribe to our daily newsletter. Make sure you get it delivered to your inbox first. Caroline, I always like to start with a little bit of background. How did you find yourself working in the cannabis industry?
It's a great question. Well, let's see here. I kicked off my career years ago in the grocery industry, multi-unit sector, and just kind of worked my way up. And then kind of went into the food and beverage industry, worked with Starbucks for several years here in the Southwest, and then did a little bit of home and decor, especially retail, with Pure One Imports. And so I was with them for about 10 years. And during COVID, Pure One Imports had to shutter their doors. And so just kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of open up and see what else I wanted to do. Man, I really enjoyed the fast-paced industry of Starbucks, and I really wanted to try to find another place like that. And at that time in Arizona was just past the ballot in November to have adult use in Arizona, and I was reading a lot about that. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like it's a pretty fast-moving industry. Didn't know much about it, and so just kind of took the leap and made some great connections, and started off with Harvest Health and Rec out here in Arizona, and just kind of moved my way up and have been loving the industry ever since.
What was that crash course like, and what were some of the things that kind of, turned your head in terms of, this industry maybe does things a little differently?
I think it was like day one, really. My very first day was the week that Arizona went adult use. And I remember my boss saying, you know what, let's hold off and let's bring you on in a couple of weeks. And I was like, heck no, I'm not missing this. Like, I want to be part of this. And so I really enjoyed it. I think my very first week is when I realized, wow, the rules and regulations and the compliance, the layers of compliance. So it was very quick. Product knowledge, just how to handle the product, just something as easy as ringing a customer up. Not as typical as you would see like in the grocery industry or at Starbucks. And so there was a lot more layers to this industry, but it was very intriguing still to this today.
Okay. What is it about Copper State and the way and its approach to cannabis cultivation that sets it apart from other players in the industry?
I think the first thing is it's not an MSO. So it loves just being rooted in Arizona, and it really just Copper State just wants to stay just in Arizona. It doesn't want to kind of take on that MSO piece of it. And so I really appreciate that. Being in working with a company that was an MSO, I saw some of those challenges. And so I really just appreciate that Copper State is just that single state operator. We're Copper State's a lot lighter on our feet because of that. And so it's a competitive advantage for us where we can move quicker. We can dive deeper into operational excellence because we're not so focused on several other states and just trying to tend to the day-to-day operations. I think also for Copper State, it's our farm, 40-acre farm. We can do so much with that farm, and so we can the cost gets translated down to the customer with the pricing. We can our strain diversity because of that, our innovations. We can do so much with a 40-acre farm.
So when was the last time that agility, that ability to kind of skip the red tape, so to speak, helped gave you a competitive advantage?
I feel like we do it quite often. But to give you a great example, I feel like we're constantly doing that. In the Arizona market, it's a mature state, and so I think that there's a lot of times where the customer has wants more flour, 2 gram vapes versus the 1 gram vapes or the half gram vapes, right? And so this market has kind of gone into more of the large volume, units. And so we've been able to, I guess, because of our farm, be able to leverage that and be the pioneer in the market to be able to get the half ounce out first, to be able to get the 2 grammers, to be able to, kind of pick up some of that product innovation that maybe some other retailers are a little bit slower to get to. So I would say probably that we've been experiencing that month over month since probably a year and a half.
You know, from a retail and marketing perspective, what are some of the things that work for you guys when it comes to customer retention, increasing the size of every basket, and customer loyalty? Is there anything that's worked for Copper State in particular that, others across the U.S. could probably learn from?
Sure. Yeah. So I would say probably when I came on board here at Copper State, the first thing I did was I looked at how we can build that basket, right? So when you're looking at driving top line revenue, it's always traffic times ticket. That's it. It's a simple equation, right? So it's whether you're selling coffee, whether you're selling candles or you're selling cannabis, right? It's ticket times traffic. And so if you can leverage those two KPIs, you can win all day. And so for me, when I got to Copper State, it was about driving that average ticket in the store. How can we get just one more item in that customer's basket? And for me, it was very seamless, just from bringing those transferable skills from the other spaces that I came from, the mainstream sectors, right? And so, that was an easy place for us, was to be able to drop in some impulse towers in our stores. It was very simple to drop in 3 or 4 impulse towers, get some additional accessories in your stores, put them right by the register. Let your sales associates or bud tenders start talking about them. Let's not have the customer leave our dispensary and then have to go to a smoke shop or vape shop to pick up a lighter, or Circle K to pick up that lighter or something like. Let's really make this a one-stop shop for that customer. It's no different of a philosophy that Pure Imports had. It's no different than what Starbucks has. And so I think it was just applying that same rule of thumb for that customer experience. I think also our loyalty program here at Copper State has been a huge customer retention. We're looking at revamping our loyalty program. I feel like we're always revamping that loyalty program. Our customers give us feedback all the time about our loyalty program and what they're looking for or what feels confusing to them, and we listen to that and then we make those quick adjustments. Whether it's about hey, I'd love to be able to see my points. If I gather points, I'd love to be able to use it on all brands, not just on your house brands. And we were like, we hear you loud and clear. We will make that happen. And so we just flipped that on as well. So it's really just asking the right questions for our customer when it comes to customer retention. Giving them a reason to return is a big one. And so, hey, I see you just picked up this Uncle X half ounce, glitter bomb. This is a staff favorite. Come on back in. Love to hear your thoughts on this. So it's just really those questions. Giving her a reason to return is important for us as well.
So if you have one impulse item to choose, what is it? What's your best performing impulse item?
A lighter.
Yeah.
Is a lighter, right? At
Yeah.
Pure One Imports, it was always, if a customer came in for a candle holder, like, they need a candle, right? And so
Yeah.
it was the same thing when I came here. It was, hey, listen, flower, pre-roll, does not matter. Every category of our audience, what does not matter what they are buying, will need a lighter. And everyone always loses a lighter. They
Right.
can always have them in their car, anywhere, in their back, wherever, right? So always end up in the washer, dryer, whatever. So just always making sure that customer has lighters.
So is the reason that wasn't in that position previously just because everyone assumed everyone already had a lighter?
Yeah, absolutely. Or it was placement on the sales floor, right? And so with a dispensary, it can be hard. I like to lean into the five senses, right? And so we did this a lot at Starbucks was lean into the five senses. If your store is too cold, that customer is not going to be in there for a very long time. They're going to get in and get out. If the music is too loud or not to their liking and they can't relate to it, they're going to be in there less than 30 seconds, in and out. And as a retailer, we want that customer to stay in your store as long as possible. We want them to enjoy that journey. We want them to make it feel like it's very welcoming and genuine. And so, for a dispensary, it's no different than if you were walking into any other retailer. You have to apply that same school of thought to your business and to your merchandise. And so, yeah, just making sure that we understood what that customer journey was in our stores, and then leveraging it and accelerating it.
That's really interesting. So, what is the ideal temperature for a dispensary?
It depends on the square footage of the store, to be honest with you.
Okay.
You got to ask the customers, right? And so a lot of times it could be depends on how many windows the dispensary has. It depends on if there's fans in the store. It depends on circulation in the store. It could be all of those things. But we monitor that. We keep it at a good old 72 and just see how it kind of fluctuates. If there's double doors on each side of the store, that circulation could change. Depends on the traffic in the store. You get 1,400 people on a Friday night in a store, yeah, you're going to have to crank that AC down a little bit, right? And so just being able to alter that and edit just the customer journey and how that makes them feel to elevate those five senses.
And what is the music that won't keep them running from the store? Just because I feel like in this industry, there are a lot of presumptions as to
Yeah.
what maybe people want playing. And then
Yeah.
there's a reality.
Yeah. I think so. We break it up here at Copper State by day parts. So in the morning, don't really want to be hearing like loud rap music and things like that, right? Like it's got to be the tone. You got to set the tone in the store. I like to say, the leader that's running the store, they are the creator of the culture at that moment. So they are creating that environment for that customer and for their sales associates as well in the store. So how do you want that customer to feel when they walk in the door? In the morning, a lot of times, it's our medical patients, or maybe it's a more mature customer base, and so they relate to more of maybe just a little bit more laid back, easy kind of going music, and then midday maybe it's a little bit more chill, but a little bit fast paced, and then at night after 4 o'clock, yeah, that's when the party's getting started, and you've got that little bit more high pace and higher traffic, right? And so you kind of want that music to kind of follow that same pace.
Well, a lot of that really makes sense to me, right? It's already for especially first time or newer buyers, it's already a high anxiety moment, right? Walking into that dispensary. And I guess anything you can do to make them a little bit more comfortable really just, I mean, do you know how many people, turn away, leave the dispensary without ever buying something just because of something like that?
I don't, but I, I, I have to believe that it's got to be quite a bit. It's got to be quite a bit. And even if it's just one, that's one too much for me.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
we
mean, it
we
makes
take care
sense.
of our customers.
Um, when it comes to the loyalty program, one thing I'm curious about is, um, you know, how do people like to receive that information? And do you know what the breaking point is in terms of too much contact and then having diminishing returns?
Sure. It definitely fluctuates throughout, I would say, the year. And I would also say, uh, the way that we have it here at Copper State is, you sign up, you can opt in, right, to receive notifications through email or text. That's probably the most ideal way for us to be able to communicate with our customers. At Copper State here, we do a lot of trigger emails or segmented emails. So if you buy gummies, then we're going to communicate and talk to you about gummies or edibles and things like that. And then if we have a launch, then we're going to share that with you, via text or email about, a new gummy launch or a beverage launch. And so We've got a lot of those pieces in place. We do track whether or not customers unsubscribe. So we are able to track that. And then we also connect to like lapsed customers as well. So if we haven't seen you in the store, well, maybe, just kind of reach out to them again through text or email. I would say the industry average is anywhere from like, during like not holiday weeks, maybe like, once a day, maybe twice a day, customer would receive a text, from our dispensaries. During the holiday weeks, I know customers just get bombarded with emails, like tons of emails, not just necessarily from like a dispensary, but from every retailer. And it can become message fatigue for the customer. We are very well aware of that. So during the holidays, like right now, we're just trying to be very strategic how we connect with customers. If they are, have our app, we really try to lean on like the VIP program. So we want to use our loyalty program more, not necessarily around discounting, but more community driven. So if you're a VIP customer, come on in the day before the launch so you can, purchase the product. So we're just starting to change some of those pieces around our loyalty program as well to build on that community versus always discounting.
Is there any way to programmatically monitor fatigue in the platform that you use?
I would say yes, today there is. We can track when customers unsubscribe, and so that tells us the story of whether or not they're getting message fatigue, or maybe they found a new dispensary, or we know that if they do unsubscribe, we just don't know the why. I'll put it that way. We just don't know the why they're unsubscribing.
Have you found a way to integrate the use of AI to improve how you do your job?
We talk about that almost daily, almost daily. We talk about, how do we do it faster, leaner, quicker? How do we do it more efficient and sufficient? So those are a lot of key words. It's not necessarily, we don't talk in terms of, hey, how can we do this process to reduce headcount? I don't think, at least in my world, AI is not there yet. We still need bodies to be able to review the data and analyze the data. So it's more about how can we allow our teams to do things quicker, faster, leaner, so we can make, quicker decisions and move the business forward. That's how we're leveraging AI. But I'm always learning. I'm always, what is the best of the best? If we bring on this program to help us, whether, with the AI, is it scalable for us in 3-5 years? What would that look like in 3-5 years for us to bring that program on? So I think we're very curious here at Copper State, but we are still asking a lot of discovery questions.
What is your philosophy when it comes to inventory management? When you know to bring new SKUs in house, or when to sunset those that aren't working?
Yeah, I'd like to lean on the, right product at the right place at the right time. In all of my career, I don't think anybody's ever nailed that, where we can say like, yep, 5-star us, like, yep, we're doing it. I think it's always just a nurturing goal for us to be able to strive to that right product, right place, right time. Inventory management, we've advanced, just kind of speaking to your previous question around AI. So we've been able to build a program in-house under Copper State that allows us to do some deeper forecasting. So not just necessarily looking at categories, but really looking SKU by SKU and the history and the sell rate of each SKU. We're also looking at it store by store. So we don't just, I like to say, let's not peanut butter our inventory controls across all the stores. Like, let's look at them individually when it comes to inventory management. And then SKU rationalization is a big one. So like you had mentioned, is, how do we know what those hero SKUs are? And are we doing that to them, or is it because of them? Is what we like to challenge the team. Is it the promo that we're driving that's really driving those units, or is it truly the pull from the customer, purchase. And so we're always analyzing that, and then looking at those SKUs that the bottom performers that really haven't moved the needle, and then we kind of meet as a group and analyze it and say, did we bring on a SKU that maybe cannibalized this SKU? Did we lose some of our marketing strategy from the SKU? And so we really take it through a lot of several screens before we just say, okay, this one's not working any longer. But we also do know that consumers evolve so fast in this space. And so the innovation and the product innovation is so fast. Things that we were selling 3 months ago may not be selling today. What the consumer was asking for 3 months ago is not what they're asking for today. Might be the same like form factor, but they're looking for like, hey, I want a 2 gram, not a half gram any longer, right? And so we have to be in front of that. We have to pioneer that, but not alter that consumer's choice as well. So it's a very fine balance that we have to kind of walk week over week.
As you walk that balance, is it easier for you to make changes with your house brands based on those tendencies?
Yes, I would say yes, to a degree, right? Because we forecast our house brands just like we do for third party. I would say we have a little bit more wiggle room with our house party or with our house brands to pivot or adapt. But aging product is aging product. And once the product is made, it doesn't matter like what package it's in, like we got to sell it, or we don't sell it, like we lose money. So at that point, once it gets to that part of the process, yeah, I have to look at it through the lens of this is a product. We have to be able either to market it, but or sell it.
How do you manage that in terms of the shelf space and the positioning that you give to higher margin house brands versus some of the other, big brands that you need to have in the store, just as to offer a good mix?
Yeah, our big brands out here in Arizona, there are they're traffic drivers, right? So big brand, let's just Jeter is a big brand out here in Arizona, and so if they've got a drop or they've got a SKU drop coming, right? Man, we want those on our billboards, only at Soul, or we want to be able to market that to our customers. That might not be a segmented email. That might be a mass email that we would send out to really try to, grab more traffic into our stores for that particular day. But, those big brands drive in that traffic. I think placement in the store, we look at, we're very strategic with slotting fee program. So we have a slotting fee program with Copper State. And so it's important that our brands, they buy their space in our dispensaries. And so a lot of times those bigger brands are like, hey, I'm going to pick up this space. It's right front and center. But again, we're always digging into that customer journey. And when that customer walks through the door, we want that customer, to kind of browse and hit those displays, not just go directly to the register. And so really trying to change up some of our deployment, how we zone our sales associates in our stores so they're not just behind the register. We don't want it to be transactional. We want it to be a customer experience. And so a lot of those pieces just with how displays are, we might have a takeover day. And so, historically, third-party brands would just kind of come in and they'd pick their location in our dispensary where they were going to kind of hang for 2 hours. And we were like, no, we're going to be a little bit more strategic. This is how we want the customer to flow through our store today. So we're gonna go ahead and have you set up over here. And so it's just that connectivity with our third-party brands. But yeah, I think our big brands drive in that additional traffic. And then we do add-ons. Here at Copper State, we do bundles. They're very effective for us, the bundles. We show value and the savings right now. And so customers are really enjoying that. And our sales associates are as well with those bundles. And so we'll do third party and bundle it with, might do a third party vape with our house half ounce or something like that with a pre-roll, and then get that bundle for $55 and then do some add-ons with a lighter or some reps or something like that. And so that's how we're kind of building that ticket here at Copper State.
Talking about new product drops or product introductions, if you could do it any way you wanted to do it, what is the ideal way to market around a new product introduction?
Okay, well, in full transparency, it's really, for me, it's taking the playbook out of what Green Dot Labs does. So Green Dot Labs, they're based in Colorado. They just are introducing themselves here in Arizona, and they do like they're best in class with how they market it. And so I really, really want to be able to get our team to kind of follow a playbook out of Green Dot Labs, but they're very strategic with their email launches, and the content creation and what goes out. Kind of, creating a almost kind of like a fear of missing out, a little FOMO, right, on those drops. Advertising, giving yourself a lot of runway to advertise prior, almost kind of like a countdown. So typically, we've been, 3 weeks before we launch. Got to go a little bit longer, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. You got to have to create that little buzz in the market, that community that it's coming. Highlighting it, in-store signage is big, right? So we do a lot of like, this product is here today, but what about this product is coming soon? Talk to your sales associate about this product coming soon. And then arming the bartenders or sales associates with that knowledge so then they can speak to that weeks ahead of time. So that's evolving, I think, for Copper State as well as the Arizona market. And then, not having a large inventory to kind of, on launch day. So maybe 150 units a store or 50 units a store. And then strategically kind of staging those drops over, 3, maybe 6 months. And building those categories. So first you drop with flower, then you drop maybe a vape 3 months later, and then you kind of build your portfolio that way. And it just kind of keeps those consumers coming in like, what's next? What's next? And so found that to be very effective in the AC market.
How soon after a new product drops, or maybe it's even before, do you know that you might have some trouble getting it off the shelf?
It's usually day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually day one, first hour. We could probably see it just with if there isn't a buzz from the store teams, chances are it's not going to translate to that customer. And so if the team is excited, if we're excited about that product, we see great success with that launch. And so it's not spending the most money on the marketing or the displays or like the food trucks or, whatever that might look like to try to create that buzz. It's really just that word of mouth and some of the social media piece of it as well is what is effective.
What works best when in terms of getting the staff excited about it? I do understand that. I know that there's a lot of direct outreach from brands to bud tenders, but how do you, kind of create that buzz internally?
Samples always help, right? So, that's always a good one. I think education is a big one. What I've seen in the past, or most recently, should I say, is if the product is different. So it's got to be a disruptor. This is different. Okay, whether it's the packaging or product or founding, the founder story or, something like that, right? If the store teams capture that and fall in love with the product, then we know that it's going to be a hero SKU for us. But yeah, it's not necessarily about beautiful packaging or it's got to be something different right now. We got here in Arizona, like yes, everybody's got the 2 gram vape. Yes, everybody's got a half ounce, right? But like if we were to introduce something, what makes this product so much different? than everybody else. And that's why I keep on saying the disruptor. It's got to be disrupting. It's got to be new, fun, different.
Do you have a product launch that just blew it out of the water and that's your North Star now in terms of we just need to get, it has to work like this?
Uh, Last year we launched our Uncle X brand, and so it's really about, like everybody's got that uncle, right? That was able to kind of, get them, their weed. It was everybody can relate to that. And so we launched this back in, I would say, August. We launched it with Uncle X like half ounces. Uh, Priced it right for the market. It's got a really cool brand. We, had some merchandise with it. But it was really about great flower at a really good price, in a really cool brand, right? It's kind of like urban. It's kind of got some grit to it, and so everybody can kind of relate to it. We put that on every billboard. We took that brand when we launched it and we put it on every channel in our marketing stream. Everything. We didn't change that message for about, I'd say about 45 days. That message did not change. We were like, this is what we're doing in every lane of our marketing channels. And we let that kind of sit and simmer. And week over week, we saw that build and build and build. And yeah, I mean, it still hasn't stopped. And so it's a fantastic brand. And I think that it was very effective of how we just kind of let that kind of roll up. It never got message fatigue. Customers were still learning about it. It was an easy conversation starter for our store associates to introduce it to our customers. And so the bud talks or the talking points, we really simplified just the whole process. And I think that worked well.
Are you going to do anti-X? Because I know that most families have the fun uncle, but my family, it was always the cool aunt.
We the fun part about this brand, the Uncle X brand, is I would say probably about I would say maybe 3 4 months after we launched that, we then extended to Uncle X Most Wanted. So the higher THC, anything over 27%, is now in our Uncle X Most Wanted, line, and so that's really taken off as well. So it's been fun to be part of watching the team here at Copper State kind of build that brand and evolve it. And so we still today continue to do it.
Well, we've seen a couple of indicators that the economy is trending downwards, but this industry has always been seen as sort of more or less recession proof. Have you seen any economic impact in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 months?
Sure. Let's see here. In Arizona, we're a high tourist state, right? So I would say, just people visiting, whether it's from, Canada, coming down here for their second home, right? The snowbirds, we've seen a little bit of a change just with our snowbirds. I think also most recently with, the airlines. So haven't really kind of seen that trickle down to us just yet, but we're forecasting, or at least we're preparing for it. We prepare for all economic changes. I know, like we were also had on the table, just like with the SNAP, right? And so I think with those pieces, anything can really impact that customer coming into our doors, or that buying power and that decision making that consumer has to make. We want to lean on that and do whatever we can at Copper State to make sure that we can take care of the customer. And so we always look at, how can we help the customer, whether it's a discount, whether it's giveaways, whether it's, partnering with third parties to see if we can do something bigger. Hey, we'll go 50-50 on this, but we're taking care of the customer. So we look at, our price points. Are we competitive in the market? And, can we make some changes or edits and things like that? So we're always looking at our entire ecosystem that we can then pay it forward and give that back to our customers so then they can come in and still buy that great quality of product, but maybe at a cheaper price or a discounted price, or maybe they're going to get a free eighth with that or something like that. But we always put that through the screen of how can we help our customers first.
So it was a lifetime ago when I worked in the grocery business, several lifetimes ago. But we always dealt with secret shoppers to kind of see how the personnel were working in the storefront, but also in terms of looking at competitive pricing, stuff like that. Do you rely on anything like that in terms of seeing how employees and prices stack up?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. We've got great data here at Copper State that allows us to, capture insight. We also do post-transaction surveys with our customers. So we're always talking to our customers. We do comp checks all the time as well. Just boots on the ground, right? Just kind of pop into stores, see what's going on as well. Um, I do store visits. And so a lot of times, in stores, just kind of, I can pick up things that maybe store associates are talking to customers about that I'd be like, wow, I never really thought of that. Or I'm surprised that that conversation is coming up, right? And so it allows us to have a different conversation, in our think tank sessions of like, hey, this is what customers are asking. We need to help our store associates with this or overcome obstacles as well. But yeah, I feel like we've got a good handle on what our competitors, what's going on in the market, what's going on in the industry. And I feel like we're about 85 to 95% to where the consumers.
When you're looking at developing these marketing plans, do you get out to the cultivation to see that side of the business?
Yeah, yes, I do. You seed to sale, right? And so we're always looking at cultivations. We are. I spend quite a bit of time with my procurement team, and so there's probably every week 3, 4 times I'm in meetings with third parties, just wanting to build those relationships, see what they're hearing, what their conversations look like. And so, again, always asking lots of questions. Operationally, like if I'm at cultivations, it's, hey, I see you're doing this, quicker, faster, leaner. Kind of walk me through that. Or, hey, I see, through your distro or manufacturing, your intake, how do we do it quicker, faster, leaner? So always really trying to, I take that tool out of my toolbox from Starbucks. How can we do this in 5 steps versus 8 steps tomorrow? And so we do that through our entire ecosystem here at Copper State.
So, how does the Copper State ecosystem stack up to the Starbucks ecosystem?
Yeah. Well, we've got a little bit more compliance. And I would say that it's we grow a plant, right? And Starbucks grows a bean. And so, we've got a lot of similarities, but then there's a lot of, I would say different ways of doing things here at Copper State, just in regards to, vertical intake, the compliance piece, cycle counts, all those things, ordering, aging reports. Never saw one of those, at Starbucks, but I think that the customer journey is fairly similar. I'd say the marketing is almost a little bit similar. I know that there's more rules and regulations on the cannabis side, but you know what? There was rules and regulations at Starbucks too, as well, right? So we had state visits, things like that, and so yeah, I think that every organization that I worked with, we always had to tend to rules and regulations, and so to me, I embrace them. I I'm a student of them because they're always changing and I'm always learning and there's lots of room for interpretation. But I've got great tools and resources to lean on to help me with those interpretations. And so, yeah, I think that we are a very good student and we want to be one of the best partners in our community. And so, doing that is making sure that we adhere and you know have the best, should I say, landscape in regards to the compliance piece here in Arizona.
So Starbucks branding is so to the point that even two kids in my neighborhood were dressed as baristas for Halloween. Like, are we to the point that we see bud tenders walking around for Halloween?
Sure. I'm sure there was, right? Adults and kids,
Yeah.
right? And so it's it's really cool to be in cannabis. I hear it all the time. It's really cool. There's a lot of people that reach out to me and say, I just want to get my foot in the door. It's really hard to get into the cannabis space. And um, I think that historically it's been, uh, should I say, historically it's been one of those things where, hey, if you don't have, it's so much easier to just bring somebody on who's been a bud tender or who has worked in a dispensary. Oh, that's great. Come on over, right? They think, oh, I don't have to train you. You get it. You get the product knowledge. You get the compliance piece. I'm really challenging my team on that. It's no, it's you can learn that, you can teach that. It's the selling and the teaching piece and the selling tools and how to overcome obstacles when a customer has a question. When all those pieces, I think that's what we really need to kind of lean into is the training. And so, yeah, I think that we could see over 1,000 applications for one job posting. Everybody
Wow.
wants to get into that kind of space.
Well, and I understand that some of it is inherent with the industry, but how do you fight turnover?
Just like I would, I would say probably just like we did it in the grocery store, just like we did at Starbucks or Pier One, right? It's about creating a great culture, making sure that people have tools and resources, uh, making sure that people's voices are being heard, and that there's value. And goal setting is big. People want to come to work and be inspired to reach a goal. A lot of people are competitive, and they just it doesn't matter what that goal is. They just want to be able to celebrate that they hit a goal. And so goal setting is big here at Copper State. Values. Giving them a reason to be inspired and motivate. Coaching culture is a big one, right? And then also being very vocal within every department where there's, uh, should I say, growth within the company. Um, there's a lot of times where I'll be talking to a sales associate and they'll be like, hey, I'm going to give my 2 weeks. Just graduated, ASU. And I'll ask them, what did you graduate? What's your degree in? And they're like, oh, it's, architecture. Well, we build stores. Have you ever thought about that? Or have you ever thought about going into being in the cannabis space and building stores or cultivations or distros, or you could do that through the space. I did a lot of that at Starbucks as well. I saw the same thing at Starbucks where people were like, oh, this is just a part-time job for me. And 10 years later, they're still there. And so it's just having those conversations and asking the right questions.
Well, it sounds like you're building a tremendous culture there. Is there anything, before we get out of here, and I really appreciate you taking the time, is there anything else that you want to make sure the Cannabis Equipment News audience either knows about yourself or your work at Copper State Farms?
I always like to tell people, like, be a good student in the space. Continue to be curious. What you think you know is going to change. At least that's been my experience. Um, Something that I knew yesterday might not be the same tomorrow. And so I'm very open to just new ways of doing things, sharing best practices in this space. We're still so new. Cannabis is in its infancy stage. And so I'm always out here in Arizona. I'm always looking to see what those best practices are, what they're doing in Ohio, what they're doing in New York, and seeing what we can do here. It's a win-win for everybody. And so for me, I'm just a a great student of the space, always asking good, curious questions, and always willing to share best practices.
Well, when you're learning from those other states, do you ever look and just be like, well, I mean, we're kind of doing it better than them. We could be an MSO, over there.
Sometimes, a little daydreaming never hurts, right? But there's so many fun things to still do here, just within the state of Arizona. I want to be able to, I want to feel really good when they do flip the switch on and it's federally regulated, right? And we can do all those fun things. I want my house in order. I want us to be say, yeah, we can do this, right? I don't want to be the one going, what now? I want to be able to say, yep, we're ready. Let's go. I want to pioneer that.
Well, I believe you are in position to be that pioneer. So, Caroline, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Before we get out of here, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You could also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. If you want to email the podcast, you can reach me at david@cannabisequipmentnews.com with email the podcast in the subject line. You can also subscribe to our daily newsletter. Make sure you get it delivered to your inbox first. For Caroline Riggs, Executive Vice President of Retail and Marketing at Copper State Farms, I'm David Manti. This is the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast, and we will see you next week.
Welcome to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast.